Peace, what's going on, everybody? I believe this is my first official video for 2023, so Happy New Year. It's like halfway through the month, so, but life has been crazy as usual, and I try to get out what I can. Anyway, what prompted the video that I'm doing right now is I was going through, scrolling through my news feed, and I came across a story that occurred in California. About 4 a.m. in the morning, a bunch of people start calling into the police. They believe that it's possibly an active shooter situation happening in their neighborhood. This is in California. Once the police arrive, they are able to ascertain that this is most likely, allegedly, I guess would be the correct term. This is allegedly a gang-involved shooting, right? There are 6 people who have been murdered at the scene, 2 of which, and this is the part that really kind of threw me for a loop and really made me inspired me to do this video right here. 2 of those victims were a 17-year-old mother and a 6-month-old baby. Now, the 17-year-old period is, that is heartbreaking, right? But to hear that a 6-month-old baby gets shot in the head, bro, like that's a different kind of trauma, right? Like, for the record, if you know me, you know that I rarely, especially in these kinds of videos, because I'm not using any kind of graphics or pictures or anything, I never put a trigger warning. I had to put a trigger warning in front of this video because this is just insanity. And this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this series, not necessarily babies being murdered, but what I did want to talk about is all of the collateral damage, right? What happens in a lot of these situations, especially when it's like a drive-by shooting, innocent people tend to get hit. It's bad enough that more times than not, the person that that's getting aimed for doesn't get hit, right? But it's even worse that innocent people who have nothing to do with the gang life, they might just, be a sibling or an auntie or uncle. Like, you know how it is in the hood. Like we live together a lot of times, right? So it might be somebody in that house possibly who has some kind of gang relation, right? But that doesn't have anything to do with mama and auntie and everybody else that's in the house, right? And I would imagine the mentality of the gang member is, for whatever this violation was, we gonna go in this house and we gonna kill everything. My issue with that is that this is what creates a divided community, right? Because once that happens, you got half the hood pouring out beer and Hennessy, putting blunts in the air for the homie that just got killed, and possibly his other family members who ain't have nothing to do with gang, right? Then, if the police are actually able to get the person who shot these people, the other half of the hood is screaming, "Free the homie." Meanwhile, when something happens and a police officer does some kind of BS, right? We want to all be screaming Black Lives Matter. We want to all be at the protests. We want to be at the rallies, right? We get a verdict that is BS, right? We ready to tear up the streets in the name of Black Lives Matter. But the reality is, when it's just us, we don't care. We can't care. Because if we did care, then babies getting killed in the hood would have stopped happening a long time ago. Right? Like, I'm not going to front like I got all of the answers. I'm not going to front like I don't have at least a slight understanding of why people join gangs. But real talk, we are in 2023 and we still operating on the same wavelength that we was operating on in the 80s and the 90s. Like, this is facts. We are still using the same frame of mind that we were during the height of the war on drugs, right? And make no mistake, that war on drugs was calculated to take us out. The hood, the people of color, the ghetto communities. Granted, it spread, crack spread like wildfire. They probably wasn't expecting that. But the poor communities, especially the poor black and communities of color, we got hit crazy hard. They separated us in many ways, right? They had some of us turn to fiends. They had some of us drug dealers. Because of that, a lot of us was killed and the other ones was locked up. And we still operating with that same kind of mentality that if somebody disrespects us or what does something that we perceive to be disrespectful to either ourselves or our set, we go and kill up everything, bruh. And then want to scream free the homie. This is why, like, when I hear people or read comments about people like Charleston White, who, granted, is absolutely abrasive, and I don't agree with that man on everything, but a lot of times he ain't lying. We the first ones to scream Black Lives Matter. We the first ones to scream about the injustices of the system. But the system that we have created and continue to operate within, inside of our communities, we hush. This is, on top of being absolutely disgusting, this is never going to yield a result. This is going to keep us in the same perpetual cycle, right? Because if we are operating with the mentality that we did in the 80s and 90s, where we got to get it and nobody could disrespect us, and if they do disrespect us, bang, bang, right? Damn everybody else. We not going to get disrespected, and if we feel disrespected, we going to murder something. We still operating like that. Meanwhile, the world is advancing. And we want to be part of that advancement, but we still dealing with this antiquated mindset. And we only want to scream that our lives matter when the police is taking them. We're not thinking about how we are purposely filling up these jail cells with our black bodies on a regular. For what? For a block? For what? For a color? For what? For what you perceive to be respect, homie? For real? Who gonna respect you? You gotta run. You done killed people, innocent people that ain't got nothing to do with the gang. So now you want to run. Who really respecting that? And who respects those people? What makes you think that those people who might respect the shooter in that situation, why do they matter? Because you do get locked up. Guess what? Them same dudes, they not sending you nothing in your commissary. They're not sending no packages. They're not going to check on your moms. They're not going to make sure that your babies is right. Christmas time come around, they not making sure that the baby's got some gifts under the tree. School time come around, they ain't making sure that the baby is fresh to death while you locked up for gang. So why do their opinions matter? What is that disrespect that occurred that could make you go and do something like take the life of innocent people randomly? And then what? The public is supposed to have mercy on you? You made that decision, homie. Like, don't get it twisted. I understand the psychology that goes behind and goes into a lot of our actions. But I also understand what a cop-out is. I also understand that too many of us will point fingers, but won't point the finger at ourselves, or won't point the finger at a loved one because we find some kind of BS way to justify their actions. Meanwhile, we're not thinking about the family that's affected, right? And then how that cycle comes back around. Because now the cousins that might be in that gang, that might have an idea who that shooter is, guess what? They're going to go and shoot up somebody else's house. It's the same cycle over and over and over. And then we got the audacity to question why we can't advance. We have the audacity to question why we are not treated equally. We have the audacity to question why we are not respected. It's because we're not respectful of ourselves. I don't care who you are and how you feel. I said what I said. You cannot command respect if you are not at the very least showing respect for yourself. If you can't show respect for where a baby is staying at, for where some old people are possibly staying at, why should I respect your life, homie? Why should I care what the system does to you? Like, at this point, hard truth is, we are making these decisions. And granted, like I said, there's a lot of us who are misled, be it through rap music, be it through the videos that we watch, the movies that we watch, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or whatever that promotes whatever. I'm not going to sit here and act like we do not have our own people kind of enticing us into these situations. But I'm talking to them too. I'm talking to every rapper that talk about gang gang. Every rapper that talk about blood or cuz. Like, all that need to cease, homie. And you could come at me if you want to. But I'm speaking to you black man to black man, brother to brother. Somebody in your clique just killed a baby. What you gonna do about that? Cuz, blood. So you could get mad at the messenger. That's the punk ass way out. Deal with the situation. Start to command respect by earning it, by showing respect for yourself, dog. For real. And all of the MCs and different artists that's promoting that kind of lifestyle, we got to figure out a new wave to start, bro. Straight up and down. Because this right here, it's going to be the same cycle all over again. And my great-grandkids is going to be sitting up making videos in whatever kind of way that they doing it as far as technology goes. Speaking about the same things, man. Why is it that we can't get a leg up? Why can't we advance? I ain't even going to talk about the audacity that we have against to be mad at other communities that don't do the fuck shit that we do and excel. I ain't even gonna talk about that. That's a little too deep for this. And again, the reason I'm making these videos is because we need to discuss black accountability. And the only time it seems to be brought up is when we are in a traumatic situation and everybody's screaming about Black Lives Matter and defunding the police and all of that other stuff, and these conversations never happen. So while there's a lull in all of that, I'm trying to start these uncomfortable conversations. So you have my permission to share this video wherever you want. Do whatever with it that you will. As long as what you're trying to do is get to somebody and let them know that the old style of thinking, we got to change that up. With that said, I'm going to be doing some more written word, like essay style stuff. So make sure that you join Patreon. And I think at some point within the next few weeks, I'm going to probably jump back on the other social media platforms like Instagram. Like I probably won't do Facebook or anything like that, but I probably will jump back on Instagram. And make sure that you checking me out, obviously, here on YouTube and on TikTok. All right. So with that said, peace. And if you know anybody who is dealing with this kind of mental trauma as far as the gang mentality, try to put them on the real game. Get them outside of that headspace. Have discussions about 6-month-old babies getting bullets in the head on the strength of gang, right? One love. Peace.